What's going on, family? How's everybody feeling out there? This is the King LiKuiD Show Sports Rap, and I'm your man, King LiKuiD. That's LiKuid. The K for the king, not the Q for the queen. Family, we are in the midst of the NFL playoffs. Divisional playoffs are going to be happening this week, and there is a whole lot that I'm going to talk to you about on this edition of King LiKuiD Show Sports Rap. Remember, family, the King LiKuiD Show, all of my content and media that I produce as King LiKuiD and King LiKuiD Show Media is a component of intelligent, independent, black-owned community radio. I need y'all's support, so please look down in the description box, come and check me out online. Sign up on Patreon. You can sign up for as little as $2 a month. $2 a month is all I ask, family. 50 cents a week for all of this content that I create. You know, we have lost over 100 black-owned community radio stations ever since the passage of the 1996 Telecommunications Act. So, to that end, the King LiKuiD Show is about doing King LiKuiD Show messages, the King LiKuiD Show Sports Rap, and of course, as y'all know, the weekly King LiKuiD Show, where it's going to be a combination of classic hip-hop, soul, R&B, jazz, reggae, deep and soulful house, combined with community news and opinions. So, support our community resources, family. We must support our community resources, otherwise we won't have no community resources. So now, let's get into this week's edition of Sports Rap. So in this edition of Sports Rap, family, it is January 10, 2020, and there's a lot to get into. This past week, let's do a quick recap of the NFL wild card. Texans versus Bills. Deshaun Watson, Superman. I don't know about the rest of y'all, but that play that he made at the end of the game to win the game, Superman. Deshaun Watson is Black Superman. The brother is Black Superman, hands down. And in case y'all didn't know this, family, Deshaun Watson has the most comeback wins in the NFL in the last 2 years. So, yeah, it was a great game. It went down to the wire, but that play where I thought that the Buffalo defense had Deshaun Watson dead to rights. Deshaun Watson somehow breaks those tackles and throws the winning touchdown. Kind of reminded me of a play that he had earlier this year where Deshaun Watson got kicked in the face. I believe they were playing against the Raiders, and he got kicked in the face and still was able to throw a score. So this playoffs is going to be very, very interesting and exciting with him in it. For the Titans versus Pats, well, Titans were able to beat the Patriots and send Tom Brady packing. Derrick Henry and the Titans pretty much, it was clock management, clock control, to the point where Bill Belichick was on the sideline going apeshit because of the fact that the Titans were taking delay of game penalties to run the clock down to as low as possible. I think by the time Tom Brady got the ball back, he got the ball back with 15 seconds left, and he got it back on the Patriots 1 yard line. Yeah. So I mean that's the formula for beating Tom Brady. But the bigger question out of that is Tom Brady going to retire? Tom Brady has said no, he's not retiring. He says he wants to play until 45. Of course, there's a lot of rumors going around about this. I've heard that Brady might be considering going to Los Angeles. As it stands right now, he might be going into free agency. The ball is pretty much in New England's court as far as what's going to be happening with Tom Brady. But as it stands right now, Patriots are at home on the sidelines watching. I personally think that is a good thing. I am not a Patriots fan at all. So let's go to the next game. Vikings get past the Saints. And Russell Wilson and the Seahawks beat the Eagles. You know, in that game, Eagles injury bug got them. Carson Wentz, he goes out. He got a hit from Jadeveon Clowney in that game, and Carson Wentz kind of went out. They brought in their backup. I can't even remember. I think it was McCown, if my memory serves me correctly. McCown comes in as the backup, and it wasn't the same. But one thing I will say is different with Seattle. Marshawn Lynch. Seattle has a new red zone threat now. I mean, Marshawn Lynch, he pretty much manhandled the Eagle defense. I think Marshawn Lynch, week in and week out, is going to probably be manhandling defenses. And I know Pete Carroll, that makes him feel good because once he gets 15 to 10 yards away from the goal line, he's not going to make that mistake that he made in the last Super Bowl. Instead of not giving the football to Lynch and trying to pass it or do some crazy stuff, Marshawn Lynch is showing, I don't care how many guys the defense has stacked in the box, I'm going to find a way to get into the end zone. So that was a wild card recap. You know, some of the games that we had from last week as far as the wild card. Let's get into this week's series of games. So tomorrow we're going to have our divisional playoffs. And the first game I want to start taking a look at is the Ravens-Titans game. I see this as a pretty good game. I got to give this to the Ravens. Lamar Jackson, they're playing at home. I think if the Ravens get out to a fast lead, which they can potentially do with Lamar Jackson, I think they win this game. If the Ravens allow the Titans to get up 7-0, 14-0, and allow the Titans to control the clock, I'm pretty certain that John Harbaugh paid close attention to how the Titans beat the Patriots. And I'm sure he's telling Lamar Jackson and telling his offense, say, listen, these guys, they're relying on Derrick Henry. They want to keep this game low scoring and play clock control. So with that said, Lamar Jackson and the utility and weapon that he is, Baltimore could potentially, get up 21 points as they're going into the second half of the football game. And I know that if I am John Harbaugh, that's my goal. So next game, Texans and Chiefs. And as far as the AFC divisional playoff game is concerned, I think Patrick Mahomes versus Deshaun Watson. As far as the AFC is concerned, this is going to be the game of the week. Texans are going to be playing at Kansas City. As I mentioned previously, Deshaun Watson has the most comeback wins in the NFL over the last 2 years. I'm kind of leaning towards Deshaun Watson, and here's the reason why. Andy Reid has yet to show that he can get past his playoff curse. We're going to see. It's going to be a great game, and I think it's going to be another game that goes down to the wire, and I expect Deshaun Watson to do some magic at the end. Patrick Mahomes is going to make spectacular plays like he always does, but I think it's going to be a close game, and somehow, someway, it's going to be a last-minute field goal, or Deshaun Watson does some kind of crazy play, and the Texans win. So that's definitely a game that y'all are going to want to watch and check out. So let's see here the next game. Seahawks are at the Packers. Russell Wilson versus Aaron Rodgers. Again, for me, I think as far as the NFC division playoff game, this is the game to watch. So the two games to watch: Texans at Chiefs, Seahawks at Packers. These are definitely two games to watch for these playoff games this weekend. And Russell Wilson versus Aaron Rodgers. I know that the Seahawks are going to be on the road. I'm giving it to Russell Wilson and the Seahawks. And the difference maker, Marshawn Lynch. When I look at the Packer defense, if the game was to go down to the wire, and now there's a goal line stand, or we're in the red zone, I don't think the Packer defense has an answer for Marshawn Lynch. If Marshawn Lynch is healthy, and it certainly looks like he's going to be, based on what I've seen so far, I say it's definitely going to be Seattle. Even though they are going to be at Green Bay, I give it to Seattle. Seattle gets the win. And as far as 49ers and Vikings, 49ers are at home. Jimmy Garoppolo gets the win. They take care of business. And that's pretty much what we're going to be looking like as far as our playoffs starting tomorrow and on Sunday. You know, I think it's going to be some very interesting games, some very exciting football. You know, leave me a comment, y'all. If y'all are checking this out on YouTube or on my Facebook or on Twitter, leave me a comment as far as what you think is going to be happening with the games this weekend. And one last thing I want to talk about on this edition of Sports Wrap. The decade of 2020 is going to be the decade of the black quarterback. And why do I say this? Let's take a look at the playoffs this year. You've got Russell Wilson, Deshaun Watson, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson. All four of these guys are playoff quarterbacks now. And of course, you know, you got to consider Dak Prescott now. He's not in the playoffs, but I think Dallas is going to make a few adjustments and make it where he's going to be viable and consistently there. So as we're in this new decade of 2020, these four quarterbacks that I just mentioned, you have to keep in mind, amongst the four of them, not only are they all playoff quarterbacks, Russell Wilson is a Super Bowl champion quarterback. And all of these quarterbacks are under the age of 32 years old. So as we're looking at the next 10 years between 2020 and 2030, I sincerely expect that year in and year out, playoff in and playoff out, you're going to have one of these five guys that I just mentioned. You can expect that the playoffs are going to be ruled by black quarterbacks. They're going to be black quarterbacks consistently in the playoffs. Black quarterbacks are going to be the face of the NFL playoffs and the NFL championships moving forward over the next 10 years, definitely. Russell Wilson, he's not going anywhere. Lamar Jackson, not going anywhere. Okay? Deshaun Watson, not going anywhere. Patrick Mahomes, no way, not going anywhere. These guys are going to be in the league now. As to whether or not they stay with the teams that they're at right now, time will tell. But as far as being prolific and consistently being knocking on the door with being in the playoffs and being in the public eye and being the representatives of the playoffs and the championship Super Bowl, it's going to be these quarterbacks that I just mentioned. Now, I want y'all to think about something for a minute, family. Between 2005 and today, the face of the NFL playoffs, as well as the Super Bowl, has been who, what? Tom Brady, Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers. Yes, yes. Over the last 15 years, these quarterbacks that I just mentioned, that's pretty much, no one can argue that when you're talking about playoff, championship, Super Bowl, football, those guys represent the face of what people think. Over the next 10 years, there's going to be a changing of the guard. The next 10 years is the decade of the black quarterback, and not the decade of the black quarterback in just symbology, but the decade of the black quarterback in application, practicality, and championship successes and wins. And these quarterbacks that I just mentioned, Russell Wilson, Deshaun Watson, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Dak Prescott, these young brothers, they're going to be paving the way. And I'm glad to be here. Family, I say let's sit back and enjoy it. Let's sit back and enjoy these brothers' successes. And I hope some of y'all out there, maybe y'all could get into some of these brothers' ears, because at some point over the next 10 years, I expect one of these brothers is going to get offered a $250 million contract. I'm calling it right now. One of these quarterbacks, if not maybe two or even three of them, are going to get a $200 to $250 million, maybe potentially even a $300 million deal over in this next decade. So the 2020s are going to be the decade of the black quarterback. The 2020s is going to be the decade of the black quarterback, and I'm glad we're all here to experience it and enjoy it. Hey, thanks for listening to the King LiKuiD Show Sports Rap. I appreciate all of y'all that are listening to me on YouTube. Family, remember, come and check me out online. www.thekingliquidshow.com. That's TheKingLiKuid show.com. If you're checking me out on YouTube, look down in the description box. I got a link to my Facebook page, my Twitter page. Sign up and follow me on on all of my social media platforms. Support me on Patreon. $2 a month is all I ask for all of the King LiKuiD Show media content that I produce. King LiKuiD Show messages, King LiKuiD Show, King LiKuiD Show Sports Rap, King LiKuiD Show Flash Black videos. Oh, family, I got my hands into multiple different things because, hey, we've lost over 100 black-owned radio stations, and I think that it's important to try to get that up and running again, and I need y'all's support. So thanks for listening. Leave me a comment if you're checking this out on YouTube, and hit that like button. Share this video, subscribe to my channel, hit the like button. It helps me as I'm growing my channel. So I'm gonna catch y'all on the next edition of the King LiKuiD Show Sports Rap. I am King LiKuiD, and I'm gonna catch y'all on the next one.